Introduction. The New Education Policy, NEP, 2020 is a comprehensive framework for the development of education in India, which was approved by the Union Cabinet on 29 July 2020. The NEP 2020 aims to bring about significant changes in the education system of India by focusing on a holistic, multidisciplinary, and flexible approach to learning. The policy focuses on promoting a new and comprehensive approach to education that would transform the Indian education system into a more student-centric and flexible one that would emphasize on critical thinking and creative thinking skills. The key highlights of the NEP 2020 include the introduction of a new 5+3+3+4 curriculum structure for school education, which replaces the previous 10+2 structure. The policy also stresses the importance of early childhood education and aims to ensure that every child has access to high-quality education, regardless of their socio-economic background. The NEP 2020 also aims to increase the gross enrollment ratio, GER, in higher education to 50% by 2035 and proposes several measures to promote multidisciplinary learning, promote research and innovation, and enhance the quality of higher education in India. Overall, the NEP 2020 represents a significant shift in the Indian education system and aims to make education more relevant, inclusive, and accessible for all learners in the country. Aim of New Education Policy 2020. The New Education Policy 2020, NEP 2020, in India has multiple aims and objectives. Some of the key aims of the policy are: to provide universal access to education. The NEP 2020 aims to provide access to high-quality education to every child in the country, regardless of their socio-economic background. To promote a multidisciplinary approach to education, the policy emphasizes the importance of multidisciplinary education, which encourages students to develop a range of skills and competencies, including critical thinking, creativity, and problem-solving. To enhance the quality of education, the NEP 2020 proposes several measures to enhance the quality of education in India, such as teacher training, curriculum reform, and assessment reforms. To promote research and innovation, the policy aims to promote research and innovation in education by setting up research centers and encouraging collaboration between educational institutions and industry. To promote flexibility and choice in education, the NEP 2020 emphasizes the importance of flexibility and choice in education by offering multiple entry and exit points in education and encouraging learners to pursue a variety of courses and programs. To promote digital education, the policy aims to promote digital education in the country by increasing the use of technology in teaching and learning, and by providing access to digital resources and tools. Overall, the NEP 2020 aims to transform the Indian education system into a more inclusive, relevant, and effective one, which prepares learners for the challenges of the 21st century. Explain the reasons for the change of previous education policy of India. There were several reasons for the change in the previous education policy of India, which led to the development of the New Education Policy 2020. Some of the key reasons include: outdated education system. The previous education policy was formulated in 1986 and revised in 1992. Since then, there have been significant changes in the global education landscape, and the Indian education system was in need of a major overhaul to keep up with these changes. Emphasis on rote learning. The previous education policy was criticized for placing too much emphasis on rote learning, which encouraged students to memorize information without understanding its significance. Lack of focus on skill development. The previous education policy was critiqued for not focusing enough on the development of skills and competencies, such as critical thinking, problem-solving, and creativity, which are essential for success in the 21st century workforce. Inequities in access to education. Despite significant progress in increasing access to education in India, there were still significant inequities in access to education, particularly in rural and marginalized communities. Need for alignment with global standards. The previous education policy needed to be aligned with global standards and best practices in education to ensure that Indian students are prepared to compete in the global workforce. Overall, the development of the new Education Policy 2020 was driven by the need to address these challenges and to create a more relevant, inclusive, and effective education system in India. How we can implementation of NEP 2020 policy in education institutions. Implementing the new Education Policy 2020, NEP 2020, in educational institutions in India will require significant planning, coordination, and resources. Here are some of the ways in which the policy can be implemented in educational institutions. Curriculum development. Educational institutions will need to revise their curriculum to align with the new 5+3+3+4 structure for school education. The curriculum should also be designed to promote multidisciplinary learning, skill development, and critical thinking. Teacher training. Educational institutions will need to provide training to their teachers to help them understand the new curriculum, teaching methodologies, and assessment practices. The training should also focus on the development of skills such as digital literacy, communication skills, and problem solving. Infrastructure development. Educational institutions will need to invest in infrastructure such as technology, classrooms, laboratories, libraries, and sports facilities to support the implementation of the new curriculum. Assessment reform. Educational institutions will need to reform their assessment practices to align with the new policy, which emphasizes the use of formative assessment, competency-based assessment, and a reduction in the emphasis on high-stakes examinations. Collaboration and partnerships. Educational institutions should be establish partnerships with other institutions, industry, and research organizations to promote multidisciplinary learning, research, and innovation.